So on today's Academy lesson, we're going to talk about a very, very interesting move known as the slip cut. Now, the slip cut has a lot of different applications in the card magic world, and there are actually two ways of doing it. One is the normal traditional slip cut, and the other one is known as the back slip, and both of them are going to have dedicated episodes. Today, we're just going to focus on the normal slip cut. So the move looks like this. Now, it may seem like either a cut took place or just moving the deck, but in that action, I've slid the top card from the top of the deck into the middle of the deck. Now, there are a couple different applications of this move that go beyond what you initially might think just looking into the move itself. But before that, let's cover how to actually accomplish the slip cut itself. So the first thing you need to do is you're going to hold the deck in left-handed mechanics grip, just like so. And once you have the deck in mechanics grip, your right hand is going to come in the standard biddle fashion. You are going to lift up approximately half the deck with the right hand. So when this is taking place, your thumb of the left hand is actually clamped on top of this card, which is the top card of the deck. Now, what's going to happen is that because of pressure, you're going to slide this card into the middle of the deck as you move the right-handed and the top-handed packet to the right. Just like this. So this move actually has a number of applications. The first one here is as a way of displacing cards into the deck. So let's assume that for some particular trick, you need to at some point lose the top card of the deck. So in this case, we have the King of Hearts. Very simply, just do a slip cut and that card is now lost into the middle of the deck. So maybe for one trick or another, you did a double lift. Here's the 5 of diamonds. You place this card on the table and you want to bury the original 5 of diamonds into the middle of the deck so the spectator doesn't see it on top after you show the change to take place. This is one way of cleaning that up. You could just slip cut the card in the middle, and now that card is gone. So maybe if the spectator decides to backtrack on the trick, they don't see the 5 of diamonds anywhere on top, and you could proceed from there. You could even use it to set up cards in front of the spectator. Let's assume you need the top card to go fourth from the top of the deck. Well, very simply, get a break below wherever you want that card to be displaced. So let's assume, again, fourth. So we're going to get a break underneath the fourth card from the top of the deck. We're going to lift up. We're going to slip that card in that gap. And we're going to just drop those cards on top. And now that card is 4 cards from the top of the deck. So a very simple way of getting into a particular setup if you need it. Another way of using a slip cut is as a production. Now, this deck doesn't have a border, so keep in mind that if I do reverse a card, you are going to be able to see it. But I do recommend doing this with a border deck so you don't see the actual action taking place. Also, another way of doing this to circumvent the border is by turning the cards face up. So let's assume that we want to produce the aces in a very simple and sort of flashy way. We could just take the aces from the deck in this case, and we're going to put the random card in between each ace so that now the aces are every other card. So here we have an X card, an ace, an X card, an ace, an X card, an ace, an X card, and an ace. So at this point, you could do whichever false shuffle you want, turn the deck over, and very simply do a slip cut to produce the first ace, just like this. You could subsequently do this for each and every single ace. The kicker here is that they see a different card each and every time. So the perception is that you are somewhat cutting the deck and producing the aces at will. And of course, you could do this for each and every single ace, and you could produce them that way. Another way of doing this, again, with a border deck is to put the aces face up in between every other card. So now this is the setup. You have face down, face up, face down, face up, face down, face up, face down, face up. You could do whatever fancy false cut you want, and by slipping the top card into the deck, you have a production of the ace. So in this case, that's one ace. Here's another ace. Here is the third ace. And finally, just to add a little bit of sizzle here, here is the last ace, produced very, very simply, all done by the action of the slip cut itself. And the final application of this move is as a way of retaining a card on top of the deck. So let's assume we want to keep the ace of spades on top of the deck. We could just simply cut the deck and still have the ace of spades right on top where we need it. So that is done by doing a slip cut. So here, we're going to carry on the actions of the slip cut. However, now you're just going to drop these right-handed cards on top of the table, then drop the remaining cards on top of that packet, and now you've completed the false cut where you have kept this card on top of the deck. Now do keep in mind that when doing this move, the cards are actually being cut, but underneath the ace of spades. So if you have, for example, a stack on the deck, this card doesn't get displaced. However, the cards underneath do have a cut, so keep that in mind. But those are a couple different applications of the slip cut and a bunch of ways you can incorporate it in your current card routine. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys for being part of the Academy, and I hope to see you guys on the next lesson.